What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. The Water Magician, Episode 5. So in this one, Aemon, Nils, and Ito, they see some goblin archers on the fifth floor, where there should not be any goblin archers. Yeah. So, obviously a lot of them have to deal with goblins. Then, so Rio, learns that Leonor's speed comes from his wind magic, but when he tries to use water speed to make himself faster, he fails miserably. And so Lynn does some research on Rio's magic, learns that his spells don't exist anywhere. And Nina is concerned about all the goblins, which generally they're not supposed to be goblins for the 10th floor. So Crimson Sword and White Brigade are sent to investigate what might be a great tidal bore, which basically what that is, it's a big growth in the population of all the monsters that will endanger Loon. Since basically the dungeon leads to the center of the city. So that'd be a big problem. There's a gigantic monster like population growth. So Rio visits the South Library because he wants to investigate Akuma, and he meets the same elf they met earlier previous episode, and this elf's name is Sarah. Basically, she's in a party just by herself. She's like the only elf in the city. And so when it happens, so Abel and Phelps go inside the dungeon, and they learn that the tidal bore has reached the first floor. So basically, all adventurer parties and city knights are sent to like defend the entrance of the dungeon. So Rio doesn't want when he's talking to Sarah, he doesn't want to talk about Akuma. Like he doesn't want to mention that he's researching Akuma, so he lies and says he's trying to figure out how to create golems. So Sarah shows him some books that might be helpful. Then we have this big, and when the tile bore escapes, we see his big battle, you know, between the goblins and, the knights and adventurers. Then, a goblin king appears. So Crimson Sword White Brigade kill the goblin king to end the tile bore, which shows, how well, Crimson Sword can work together as a team. So, yeah, so overall, I thought it was a decent episode, also reading more into like some of the lore regarding like Rio's spells, you know Akuma and all that. So yeah, overall I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Doctor Stone season 4 episode 16. So in this one, so Senku talks to the the members of his team that are in Corn City, and he tells them to basically take apart and then reactivate the Medusa device, which everyone finds. Basically, what the ultimate plan is to get the original Medusa that petrified all humanity. So Chelsea maps out America, and the advanced team sends it to Corn City using the fax and Morse code. Yeah, very analog. Yeah, and then basically, so using all that, the Corn City group they revive some people, including this like road company CEO who leads them to Joel, who's like a very good watchmaker. and Joel like starts examining the Medusa. Then Joel finds a diamond power core, and he accidentally petrifies himself, but they're able to like use some revival fluid on him. But the battery of the Medusa is useless. So Senku's group reaches the Andes Mountains, which is their next obstacle, major obstacle in their path to the Amazon. So so basically, in Stanley's group, the plane's about to be completed, and Senku, in order to help avoid that as much as possible, wants to reach the Amazon basically very quickly so that the trees can be good cover for him. So Chelsea recommends evenly distributing the weight across all the bikes to basically get through the mountains more safely, and Senku builds a scale to help with that. Leads to a very funny scene where some characters do not want to give their weight because, especially Luna. So, let's be real, you just like Chelsea like asks Luna what her weight is. Everyone's like, like all the 21st century people were like, you don't want to ask a woman that. Kohaku's like, why? Well, what's the issue here? Because, time period, Kohaku didn't grow up in 21st century, so obviously she may not know why that's a bad idea. Anyway, Senku's like, look, we were all sponges for Petra for a while, so we might be very different in our weights. He's like, look, Senku's like, look, let's just weigh each other, then we'll evenly distribute it. So once they get all that dealt with, they make it through, they start getting through the mountains, but the terrain is very steep. So Senku decides instead to use the bike parts to make a ropeway system to get across the Andes. So yeah, overall I really liked this episode. The science stuff in it was great. The engineering, the humor. So yeah, overall really liked this episode. Looking forward to the next one. The Marshal King, Chapter 17. So in this one, so the AGP, has just formed. So the only three members, which are, Jimu, Aggie, and Mira. They're basically all like, discussing first steps, which is like how to fund their group, like fund their adventures. Now, since Jimu did not get the bounty money for taking down M Godspeed, basically, yeah. And then, so they're trying to figure out what to do. So Jimu's like, oh, we do need money because Aggie and Mira bring all the stuff they need, like a cook, a gunsmith, you know, and a bunch of other stuff. And then like Jim was like, "Oh crap, we do need all that." Cook, and I guess Jimu's experience in eating is that he just ate cactus and mice in the wood, like basically in the desert, and everyone else, Aggie and Mira, had ate like regular food. So they're like, so basically Jimu was like living off the land, and of course Mira wants a lot of bullets. Yeah. So then Jimu's like, oh, let's maybe get some bounty money then. Then Mira's like, well, I could just foot the bill. And Jimmy's like, well, well, you are rich. You're just carefree. And then like that leads to like Mira just like yelling at him. So then they all three of them go get something to eat. So now in the chapter, one of the panels, it says like part two. So I don't know what this means. This is like part two of the manga, like, or there's like like an arc two. So I don't know how long this series is gonna be. I hope it's a long series. So basically, the group goes into this place called the Ch- Chaparral Stag, to get a bite to eat. So like Aggie offers to pay for, Jimu's meal since she's broke. Jimmy's like, no, I can't do it. I'm a marshal. Then like he's told to shut up and eat. He's like, okay. So Aggie gets like five bananas and five banana milks. So I guess she really likes bananas. Mira gets spaghetti with guanciale and pecorino. Very fancy for that setting. And basically Mira gets Jimu pork and beans, your standard cowboy food. And basically she says for it to be in the pan when it's delivered. So basically give him a cowboy meal. So he gets the food that he really likes it because it's like he's not had a lot of nice food. That one thing Mira asked Jimu about Godspeed's fortune. Since he was the heir, he should have the fortune. Jimmy then says since it was dirty money, he basically threw it all out. And he just basically melted it all, which was like $40 billion worth of gold. And it's in the wind. So like the fortune's like no more. Then, Jimmy gets his food, really likes it. And then so then they start trying to find out. So Jimmy finds like a bunch of outlaws and like starts getting some of the bounties. And he gives some money to like one guy he gives payment to the guy who gave me his food, and he gets some injured dude to share for whatever reason. So yeah, then Jimmy gets his new uniform. So at the end, so we got a roadmap to for the AGP. Yeah, roadmap, just like with Dr. Stone. We got a roadmap. And so Jimmu now has $3. They need $30,000. And we know Jimmy's never had this much money. So yeah, Mir Aggie like frick. So yeah. So there's still money up there. So yeah, overall I really like this chapter. That was really good. That was funny. Looking forward to the next one. The Sandman season 2 episode 12, full season and full series. So in this episode, Death takes a holiday, something she does every 100 years. So there she meets Sexton Fulvin, who's like a disillusioned journalist who's planning to kill himself because he's depressed about the state of the world, about his life, and he wants to just end it because he feels like there's no point. So, so basically, daring they'll like Death's day off. Basically, Death gets a bunch of free stuff unintentionally. Sexton's like, "What the frick?" And then so the end of that club where they come across some of Sexton's associates. So Sexton's deal with like, his with this chick named Sylvie who dumped him. And like his then like he sees his roommate, I can't remember what her name is, but then like his roommate's girlfriend is also at the club. Basically they have a fight, but Sexton gets him to make up. And basically so there's a Sexton Death are end up being imprisoned in the club by Theo, who manages the club. Basically, the like something happened. Theo's girlfriend Natalie, like, guess I don't know, overdosed or something. Whatever, something happened. She died, and Theo had asked Death to basically undo, like, bring her back, but Death can't do it. You know, so then there's a whole bit where Theo pulls a gun on Sexton, barely misses when he pulls the trigger, but he injures himself. And then, I mean, he injures himself because he slipped on marbles. So yeah, so basically, once that's carried away, there's a whole bit like early, I guess, the next day, uh, Death finds like the soul of this one lady who's introduced early in the episode, who basically had tried to hide her soul from Death, hid it so well that she lost it. So Death finds it, asks Sexton to give it to her, and then which then like I guess the human body for Death dies since the day off's over, and so Death who or as Sexton would call her Dee Dee to because it's kind of weird to tell people that you're the personification of death, and then Sexton wonders if she even was the real personification of death. Theo believed that to be the case. So then, we see that human body like wake up, talk to I guess to death, and then yeah. So this is the episode. Overall, I did not like this. I thought it was a waste of an episode, especially for a finale. It's like with all the stuff with Dream of the Endless, like who like basically being the Sandman. You're just wasting. So we just got a random filler episode to end it. That basically seemed like a waste. So overall, I didn't really like this episode. I thought it was kind of boring, kind of stupid. As far as full season, thought the season was good for the most part. Not as good as season one, but still overall a good season. You know, good acting, decent story, and all that. But yeah, and the whole show. I thought the whole show was pretty decent. Basically like a 7 out of 10. So yeah, overall, thought it was a think I would say the Sandman is a decent series. The bad guys too. So in this one, so the bad guys, having gone good, they're trying, fit in, trying to get jobs, but due to their criminal past, their resumes kind of suck, so they can't really get good jobs. With Wolf failing to, get a job at one of the banks that his crew had robbed from multiple times. Then Snake, is going out from their hideout, wherever. They're all suspicious. And Wolf, of course, basically hangs out with Governor Diane Foxington. And then, basically, like, basically, they spar a little bit and flirt. But, with Wolf being an ex-con, there'd be some scandal if Diane had dated Wolf. So, yeah. Now, having heard about Phantom Bandit and basically being like a copycat of the bad guys, Wolf gives Commissioner Misty Luggins some intel, and with help from some of the other bad guys, gets help and like explain how to figure it out. And so basically, the bad guy, so those four now Stakes were not with them, and so the rest of them, so Wolf, um, like Webs, Shark, Piranha, they basically like deduce that they think that Snake's the one doing it due to like the location where that correlated to a lot of theft. So yeah, so basically they think it's him. So they go to this lucha competition that he's going to. Now it turns out he's there to meet his girlfriend Susan, who's a bird. Yeah, so Then they realize that the plan to steal the belt is basically just by winning the belt. Now I do question how that stealing if you win the belt in a competition. I don't see how that's stealing. So there's this mask like pig fighter. So they challenge the pig, basically all fight. Then they say this person is the Phantom Man. They're trying to steal the belt. They unmask it for really be a pig, like a female pig, and then everyone's like, "Hey, that's the bad guys. They're trying to steal the belt." So they all get framed, and they get on the run. So basically, the bad guys, well, the good guys are now seen as the bad guys, and they're fugitives again. Now, then they're now Susan helps them escape, but then Susan um knocks them all out, takes them to her cohorts, which is the pig, whose name is Pigtail, and then their boss Kitty. And Susan's real name is revealed to be Doom, with Susan's being used as an alias. So basically, Kitty, Pigtail, and Doom, they basically needed them the bad guys help in stealing the Moon X rocket. And the blackmail, they use video footage that reveals Diane as the Crimson Paw, which leads to the bad guys to agree. Now, Diane, having received a call from Wolf before he was knocked out, uh, learns about the MacGuffinite, like a metal that the three girls are looking for. So Diane visits Professor Marmalade, and basically what happens is that so Marmalade's gone like big, like he's built up muscle and all that in his time in prison. So they're through a game of Connect Four. It's revealed that basically they talk and then so basically it's revealed that Kitty had visited Marmalade before and learned about MacGuffin Totem. So it's revealed that the MacGuffinite can basically it's a magnet for metal, like for gold. So like a MacGuffinite magnet could attract all the world can attract gold. So it's revealed that the plan is for all this other stuff. So all the stuff that the those three women have stolen and will steal with the shuttle being the basic last piece is to basically create a giant magnet from the multinational space station to steal all the world's gold all at once. The biggest heist in history. So then what ends up happening is the bad guys they get this little what like this wristband thing that gives access to the launch site. And the deal is they'll get the video once they do after some hiccups they're able to get, and then when they're back at the base, so like Wolf's able to get a confession and get the video, but and then Wolf could sit when he's told by Kitty that like maybe going good is a bad idea. Wolf contemplates it briefly, only for like a few seconds, whatever. It's not brought up again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they put that inner conflict in there because it's not really brought up again. Yeah. So yeah, so then like everyone, but when the bad guys try to leave, their cars are unable to start, and then they're captured by those three women and left for so then Kitty like starts uploading the footage of Diane being the Crimson Paw. So basically, and it's revealed that the upload is tied to the magnet, the MacGuffinite magnet. So like a small one. So the bad guys who are cuffed in gold cuffs, if they deactivate the magnet, the upload continues. But if the magnet's on, it'll pause. So the bad guys try to time it, but they're unable to in order to shut down, they eventually just destroy the computer. But they're unable to stop it in time, which leads to Diane being exposed as to Crimson Paul. Now Diane has arrived, so when the three women get onto a shuttle, she arrives there, fights them off. Now she's tranked, but she barely gets inside the shuttle. While three women launch the shuttle, then the bad guys, when they're arrested by Luggins, they were able to convince the Luggins that of them being framed, and then Luggins gets them a helicopter for them to get onto the rocket, and they do, and then they are able to stop the stop the magnet, and then Pigtails and Doom some reason turn good. Like they're like, well, yeah, we don't want to kill them, but Kay's like, no, like Kitty wants to kill them. Like so, there's a whole fight scene farting in the spacesuit at him and Snaker, and Snake's struggling to breathe, and then you see Parag farts so much that they turn like a floating ball basically. Yeah, so Doom and Pigtails save Piranha and Snake, Shark and Webs show off they're also hack into the power, all that, which due to with Shark being nervous, like there's where you have him be nervous and hating stuff or people because he panics or whatever. He's a panicker. So yeah, so Wolf fights Kitty over the magnet, and Wolf's able to slyly deactivate it. And then Kitty, thinking it's still on, destroys the remote. But so the goal is able to return to the people. Then Diane helps Wolf defeat Kitty. Then when the shell's falling out of the sky, everyone's like, it's falling, they don't know what to do. So it's like, yeah, we might die, but we'll kill. Then it cuts away to a grave, like a funeral for all of them. But it's real that, they're alive. Basically, Luggins had their deaths fake so they could join this government agency. So the bad guys and Diane all joins government agency. And then far as the other three, so Kitty's in prison. Marmalade had been freed due to being framed as Crimson Paul, and he now his car was gold, so his car ended up in space. So it basically just floats in space. So he is trying to go to his home, hinting that the alien origins from the books for that character, and then Doom and Pigtails are just doing community service. Now, why? I don't know. They were involved in a very bad heist. They should be in prison. I would not be letting them out. Then, yeah. So, yeah, as far as the quality movie goes, I mean, the first act, probably first two acts, are fine. They're decent. It doesn't just do heist tropes without being good writing. This one just it's simple, okay, they're set up, they're trying to clear their names, find this thief, okay. But, you know, that third act, and you could argue maybe the entire second half of the movie, like just goes off the rails and not in the good way. It's very the heel turns of Pigtails and Doom should not have happened as quickly as they did. That should have been built up over time in the movie, but it's not. So it's what was the point of that then? And then the agency thing in the end, that could be a decent angle for future films. So I think there is a third film being planned, or at least being considered. And like, the voice acting was fine. I thought the voice acting was fine as far as the animation is concerned. The animals were animated well. The humans were not. I'm not a fan of how they animated the humans. Did like how they animated the animals. Like that's actually quality animation quality. Only the humans got as much care and like animation. Yeah. So I would say I would say mid. It's overall mid because you have a decent first half and just like a not really great second half. But yeah, so overall I'd say it was mid. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching and like, subscribe and all that. And look forward to the next video.